Rasul, you want to introduce yourself and start the format?
Yes, sir. First of all, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I am ABASS Rassoul. I'm the National Secretary for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. During the Theology of Time lectures given by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1974, over a series of Sundays, there were some very interesting things brought out that bear heavily on the black man here in America today. I would like to read to you very quickly two short paragraphs from the book, The Theology of Time, pages 550 and 551, very shortly, but it is very significant and will bear on what I have to say after that. And I quote, "And I saw, saith the Revelations, the devil and those who follow him pushed into a lake of fire and frightening you into believing. No, it has not happened. It is coming to pass. Prophets don't lie. The people can call them liars, but they don't lie. The sun is going down in the west. This teaching will raise a powerful sun of truth from this part of our planet by me, whom Allah, God, raised up among you. No more will you look towards the east after this, for the light of truth to come. The light of truth, which the scientists of the east were not able to give you, will come from the west." End of quote. He whom the prophets of old prayed to see, and the time that they prayed to see, and he whom the Muslim here in America, from among the black Americans, have prayed to see, is here now. This powerful sun of truth, which the messenger said would be raised by him, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not Allah, is here. And we are in the process now of calling to the 144,000 of the messenger's followers who were sealed and who are to be the leaders of the new world. This powerful sun of truth, which was raised in the West, was especially prepared for the difficult task of freeing this black man here in America. This man has the knowledge to answer any question that anyone of any persuasion on any subject can answer. Can ask you. It does not mean that he sits with the knowledge immediately in his head, but Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, have prepared this one, whom we call the prepared one and style as Solomon, has the capability to focus in on a subject, on a question, and the answers come to him sometimes even before you complete the question. Thank you.
And Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. I'm the one that is styled as the prepared one. And I would be more than grateful or thankful for those of you that have questions to answer them for you, to give us a better knowledge, or give you all a better knowledge of the time and what must be done now to bring in the building of the house of the Lord and to fulfill the promise to the Muslims that came under the teachings of the messenger of money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life overnight. That is my duty, to retrieve the 144,000 and offer them or present them to the messenger, and at the same time have this building erected, which will be in North America. I'm going to play the advocate right now, because what I want to do is, there are people who are in prison who are listening to this broadcast who may have been there from quite some time. Would one of you gentlemen give them a background of what has happened in the nation of Islam, so that they can have a perspective, so that they can understand what the conversation from this point would be about? Or is that possible?
February 25th, 1975, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed. The effect on the nation of Islam was numbing. During this period, the 24 hours following the passing of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the hearts of the Muslims were frozen. During this period, the family, the immediate family of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that is the brothers and sisters born to Sister Clara Muhammad and Supreme Captain Raymond Sharif, selected Imam Waruddin Muhammad to be the leader of the Nation of Islam. I was informed by Imam Waruddin Muhammad later that Minister Nathaniel Muhammad wanted to act as a co-leader, but that Imam Muhammad, then Wallace Muhammad, demanded that he be allowed to do it alone. We presented to the believers and to the world the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Imam Waruddin Muhammad, as the new leader on Savior's Day, February 26th, 1975. And our statement to the world at that time was, there is no leadership crisis in the Nation of Islam. The next 3.5 years under the leadership of Wallace Muhammad, or Imam Waruddin Muhammad, the Nation of Islam was totally dismantled. The restrictive law was abandoned. The businesses were either sold or lost. The properties were those that were not lost for mortgage defaults were tied up in litigation in a suit by children of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad against the then called World Community of Islam. The properties were put into the hands of the attorney for the children that were suing after the first verdict was rendered in favor of them. Much of it was sold, and the whereabouts of the funds that came from the sale, I have no idea of. I do know that a great deal of it was absorbed in attorney fees. In 1978, late part of 1978, Minister Farrakhan was approached by Bernard Kouchner, then Bernard Kouchner, and given a book called This Is the One that he had done concerning the Messenger of Allah. After reading the book, Minister Farrakhan began to teach again the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. From the fall of 78 through 1989, the performance of Brother Minister Farrakhan in the duties and assignment given to him by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he called him out during the Theology of Time lectures and pointed him out as one of the finest ministers that he, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, had in the bounds of North America, and that if he told us to go there, go there, and if he told us to stay from there, stay from there. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad later told Supreme Captain Raymond Sharif and myself that when brother comes to town, that we should go to the airport to meet him. During that period, 1979 to 1989, if you can remember, or if you have videos or audio tapes of Minister Farrakhan, you will have to agree that the brother did a marvelous job of representing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. His impression of his assignment was that he was to rebuild the Nation of Islam. In fact, his assignment was to remind the Muslims and the world of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and keep alive that light. Minister Farrakhan's assignment was to last for 10 years. And on September 29th, 1989, he was properly relieved from that assignment and instructed to move on to his next assignment, which was to be with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is here in North America at this very moment, not as a spook or as a spirit, but as a living being. During the time that Minister Farrakhan was reminding the people of the message, a man went to him, identified himself, and informed Minister Farrakhan of what was to take place over a period of time, and they agreed to have 3 meetings. At the last meeting, it was to be decided as to who was doing the most, and whichever was doing the most, the other would spend some time with that one before they each moved on to their next assignment. If you will notice, and you can do the comparison very easily, from 1989 through now, the presentations of Minister Louis Farrakhan have not been the same as they were from 1979 through 1989. There is a pronounced difference. The reason being that September 29th, 1989, he was properly relieved of the post. And at that time, the light went out. From 1979 to 1989, as the brother made the presentations and the representations of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his teachings, the light of Allah was there. You could not miss it. But go back and compare now performances from 1989 through now and prior to 1989, and as I said earlier, you will find a pronounced difference. What has happened now is that one who went to him in 1978 and informed him of today, of just what was to take place, is the man whom you just heard speak just a couple of moments ago. This man is especially prepared by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad to raise or to break the seals of the 144,000 of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's followers who will be the leaders. And that is out of the millions who wrote letters and received their exes. And only those genetically coded to hear and understand will be among the 144,000. As the messenger said, the prophets do not lie. Although the messenger said himself that he wanted to beat the prophecy, the number, he said himself at the end of the Theology of Time, it looks like the number is going to be just there. In the Revelated, John also saw on the other side of a mountain a number that no man could count. These are those who will be saved, who will see heaven, but will not be among the stars. That is the impression that Minister Farrakhan was to rebuild the nation has proven to be incorrect. And the fact that he has not been able to rebuild the nation, he has, with Allah's guidance and blessings, retrieved the temple, which Wallace Imam Waruddin Muhammad's followers had allowed to deteriorate into a deplorable condition. He retrieved the mansion which was built by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and which the followers of Imam Warathdin Muhammad and his followers had allowed to be lost for taxes. But he has done nothing more. There are no restaurants, there are no supermarkets, there are no tractor trailers, there is no farmland, there are no airplanes, there is no transportation systems. The communication system is the final call. But in terms of rebuilding a nation, or rebuilding that which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, which he called himself a small start, is not there. In fact, the very restaurant that Minister Farrakhan attempted to build on 79th Street in Chicago has been sitting partially completed for approximately 5 years. And if you will remember, the admonition of the Jesus to Peter was, when he asked the question, "Do you love me?" And Peter replied, "Lord, thou knowest I love thee." And the Jesus repeated the same thing 3 times. Each time he said, "Feed my sheep." This, Minister Farrakhan has not been able to do. And it is not Brother's fault. Brother and those surrounding him merely misinterpreted what his assignment was.
We'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned to Nighthawk Programming. Really more than one question. One question is actually not questions asking you to explain the 90-day gag order imposed by the Nation of Islam, and what was that other one? And then the name, Farrakhan's name, the implication, the indication of Farrakhan's name?
Well, as far as the 90-day gag order, as far as what I can understand, he imposed that for the protection of his followers concerning the Malcolm X movie that came out recently. And that is supposed to keep them out of the line of fire or danger, out of those that love Malcolm, with a misconceived idea of what the nation played in Malcolm's assassination. That's what he perceived it to be, or that's why he has it in motion. But for the ultimate or the fullness of that particular order, it lends to the darkest hour is just before dawn. So when the 90 days that he is imposed brings about that dark hour. Now, as far as his name, Farrakhan, the messenger instructed us not to put an original name with a slave name. But yet he himself did so. He did not change the minister's name from Lewis to an original name. He allowed him to keep that. And then he attached the name Farrakhan to that. And in doing so, there has to be a reason. This reason is the Farrakhan is the actual person or entity that delivered the inspiration or fire to the message that the messenger was delivering to us. This lasted in the absence of the messenger for a period of 10 years. After that was completed and he was properly relieved, then the minister returned to himself, which is Lewis. And Lewis means lost. And his actions as far as knowing how to raise a nation proves this. Everything is in a state of confusion. that's the meaning of those two particular names.
Telephone number here is 931-5534 for your comments and questions. That's 931-5534. And for those of you who want to play games like calling people niggers and whatnot, just forget it. We're not in for that. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, the telephone number is 931-5534. The area code is 816. The 12 major scientists. How is, when you say that, what are you meaning? You say 12 major scientists.
Well, we have.
Hold on. Let's put that on hold. Let's see what we got here. KKFI on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
KKFI.
I just wanted to ask where I could get more information about the Nation of Islam.
Okay. Our guest will answer that.
You may write to the United Nation of Islam, 7124 Temple Hills Road, Suite 137, Paget's Corner, Camp Springs, Maryland, 20748. Or you can call on the 800 number, 1-800-331-7668.
Thanks a lot. I also wanted to say to the host, I mean, this is a really great show, and I think that it breaks a lot of stereotypes. And I wanted to find about the nation because I'm in like this forensics class, and I mean, I'd really like to show my school how I think they have a perception that, you know, black people can't get together and can't do something. I think the nation is the best example that they can. And I want to say that you got a really great show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Telephone number is KKFI. Telephone number is 931-5534, 931-KKFI. That's 931-5534 for your comments and for your questions. While we're waiting for a call, there should be some coming in. Let's see here. Okay. You have a book that you talk about, and that you quote from, the theology of time. You want to make some comments about that book, and how it came about, and the direction of the book, and because the other night you use that as almost like a text, just parallel to the Quran.
No, it is not. It is not. It is not parallel to the Quran. It is. This book has been transcribed. The text here has been transcribed from the deliveries by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his last public pronouncements during 1974 in the temple in Chicago. In 1973 and 4. When he had completed the subject, my staff, the staff of the National Secretary's office transcribed the tapes, and we put it in 2 books. One large hardback, and I mean very large hardback, and one paperback, just a bit smaller than the size it is here. I took these 2 books to the messenger, And he took them and looked at them. Then he turned to me and smiled and said, "No, brother, they are not ready for this yet." All I could say was yes, sir, but I was a bit confused since he had just delivered this subject. He had just delivered this subject in the temple over a period of weeks and months to the public. But as we have always done in the nation and are taught, we hear and we obey. After the messenger left, on numerous occasions, I tried to go through the copies of the book that I had, to edit it, to prepare it again for the public, and I could never do it. I would get so far, and then it would not. I just couldn't go any further. In October of last year, I received permission to go ahead. And as I say in the book, how I received the permission, I won't even go into because it'll start the pseudoscientists speculating. But proof that the permission was genuine is that this book was on the street in May of this year. In this book, I put there a 62-page introduction, which tells exactly what happened to the Nation of Islam during the period from during the transition from the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to that of then Wallace D. Muhammad. The information contained in the book itself, in the text itself, transcribed from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching, is powerful, and it fits today like a glove.
We have a call, and let's receive the caller. KKFI, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning to everyone.
Good morning. Chuck, get closer to your phone.
To what now?
Your mouth to your phone.
Oh, okay. Am I talking too close to the phone, or?
No, you're not talking close enough.
Oh, okay. How's this?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. I got questions for your guest. I was reading an article, and I cannot remember what article it was, but it was about the rap star Ice Cube, and that for him being a Muslim. And the question I have to the guest is that Ice Cube was talking about that he enjoys playing gangsters. And I was just wondering, what does the Nation of Islam feel about that when you have Muslims that sit there and constantly playing negative stereotypes of black males? Like, for instance, like the Jehovah's Witnesses got on Michael Jackson for his Thriller album, and I was just wondering how does the Nation of Islam feel about Ice Cube constantly playing, negative stereotypes?
And before he answers, it reminds me that I'll be talking about Michael Jackson tonight hugging the president. They are to quit. They both look alike.
Amen.
Well, I was wondering who Michael Jackson paid off to the NAACP to be Entertainer of the Year.
Wait a minute. One thing at a time. We have a guest there. We'll honor this, okay?
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
No, that'd be it.
Okay. If you have anything else, call back.
Okay.
All right.
Well, as far as the Nation of Islam and how they feel about Ice Cube playing this gangster role or whatever, this is actions that bear witness that the leadership is in a state of confusion. It isn't that what the nation feels about it. Most Muslims that have the right faith and belief in Allah deplore such actions. But if they are following a leader, they have no power to do anything about that other than to drop out of what they are following or wait until the leader sees that there's a better way or explain why. But we as Muslims and what we are doing, we don't accept that because we don't advocate right and then go and do wrong. visibly. That is a mark against us. No intelligent person would follow that.
We have another caller here and see what they have to say. Good morning, the Snag Hop program. You on the air?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had a question. I was in attendance Saturday, and I didn't get to ask my question. It ran out of time. What could I do to better my life, myself, in the name of Allah?
Well, brother, for anyone that wants to improve on their life and their awareness through the teachings of Islam, understanding the will of Allah, the first thing to do is to be sure that that's what you want to do, is to be right. And you start applying the things that you already know that is right, and you seek guidance through those that are in the nation or that has proven themselves to be righteous people, whether that's Minister Farrakhan or one of his ministers or someone that came up under the messenger. But the key to this is to get the messenger's literature, and you start reading it, and what is within you will identify if you are truly want to be righteous, will identify with what is written. And it will put you in accord with the time of what is happening now. Now, myself and the National Secretary and some other officials of the messenger have started the task of rounding or gathering the messenger's believers back. And in the logistics of that, many believers or non-believers will be able to participate. But what will cause you to be able to do that is your willingness to be right and learn how to discipline yourself. And in doing so, you will accomplish what you are seeking out to claim or to find.
Okay, I heard you talk about, when I was there Saturday, about the United Nations of Islam, and the nation was not exactly for, but geared more toward the black, and I'm a Caucasian. Would all those principles still apply to me?
Well, in this particular country, Islam that was taught to us by the messenger or from the messenger, it was primarily geared toward the black man here in North America. History provided that, and the prophets foretold that. But Islam is not, or Allah is not a respecter of person. If you are Caucasian and you want to do right, we welcome that, and we are preparing a place for you to have an opportunity to express that. But only thing I can say to you is that you have to be genuine. It is not a thing that you can play with, because the power that makes this real, you will have to answer to it. But it's not that we hate black people or white people, or we don't want them with us or around us. But to be righteous, it has to come from a standpoint of knowledge, understanding, and it has to be in your heart. So if you want to do right, we're not going to stop you. We'll most definitely help you. But the primary reason for this, or the message, or what it is sent to, or who it is sent to, is the black man in North America. That's the fact of the matter.
Okay. So I would still go through and, like you said, get some literature and read more on it?
Yes, sir. The truth, it don't have black wrote on it, or it's not for no one particular person. However amount, it's like you going to a meal or a restaurant, and there's more food there than you can eat. But if you take the portion that makes you full or feel comfortable, well, then that's what you take. This is the same way it is with the truth. If you come, we are not supposed to hold it back from you because you are not black. No, sir. Anyone that wants the truth should have it. And anyone that has it and will not share it with you, they don't deserve to have it themselves.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Telephone number is 931 KKFI. That's 931-5534 for your questions and comments. How long have you been administering what you're doing now, your role now?
Well, publicly, I've started just about a year. Before I was to step out public, I had to be prepared. And this is why I'm styled the prepared one. It took Solomon 13 years to build his house. This was done in the darkness, or in the period what the messenger calls the night. While the Minister Farrakhan, was doing what he was supposed to do, or his assignment, in the duty of reminding the believers, I was being prepared. At the end of the preparation for this level has just now ended, so to say. And I am free now to start to share what I've been prepared with the public, and especially those ones that came under the messenger's teaching.
Now, there's, as I see it, there's three main factions in the Nation of Islam today. Wallenstein, Muhammad, Farrakhan, and those who Solomon are trying to gather. Now, is that factual, or I mean, any one of y'all can answer that. I don't care who.
Well, under the messenger's teaching, right, it's three.
Okay.
But what we do, it's one other one.
Okay.
But he's not in this particular three set. Now there is another one that his name is Silas Muhammad, but he's going off like on his own and starting a nation that he calling it of his own.
Well, okay, but where does he come from?
He originated under the teachings of the messenger, Muslim. But
he's not part of the family. He's not like any sons of Elijah Muhammad.
No, sir.
He's just a person who splintered on his own.
Yes, sir. But this is all in the plan also. Mm-hmm. But the three main characters.
What's his name?
Silas Muhammad. The three main characters was Wallace, Minister Farrakhan, and myself. I'm just starting, so I'm not known yet, which is predicted that the one to be king would yet to be known.
Later on, I liked that interesting part that y'all talked about, the conversation that y'all had with Louis Farrakhan when he was quizzing you, I believe, Brother Russell.
When he was quizzing me?
Yeah, when he was asking about your intentions, and I think he just...
It wasn't him in person. It was two. It was actually there's one of the Fruit of Islam from the mosque in Washington, but there was a contingent of we know six. There were six members of the Fruit of Islam there when the brother came to ask the questions, which was during our last meeting at Howard University on the 16th of January this year. Now, let me make one thing clear. The followers of Brother Farrakhan are as welcome as the followers of Silas Muhammad, as the adherents to the Orthodox systems adhered to by Imam Wallenstein Muhammad, as Christians or anyone else. And consequently, they have the right to come and ask questions. And I will answer the specific questions that you have about that whenever you are prepared to.
Okay. We have another call.
Hello.
Nighthawk Programming, KKFI, you're on the air.
Okay. My question is to the prepared one, and I was wondering if he's a Muslim.
Here we go. Yes, I'm a Muslim.
Okay. When you're mentioning the messenger, what do you mean by messenger?
Just what it implies.
Okay.
Messenger.
So this is a prophet that came after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
No, sir. It's not
What
a
do you
prophet.
mean? So what is the difference?
A prophet is a person that Allah raises up to tell us what is to take place in the future.
Okay. So
a messenger is a person that Allah raises up to tell us what to do when what was prophesied appears or comes into time. That's the difference, or major difference between the two.
I think that's what you're making. There is no such difference. And my question is, in Islamic view, there was the last prophet that came and gave all the laws that needed for a Muslim man to follow. Now, my next question is this, what do you think of black as a whole, and what is your idea about white?
What do I think of black?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean, the black man or just black period?
Black person, period.
Well, what do I think of a black man? A black man is God.
Okay. So you are not Muslim by saying that, period. You are out of Islam. And based on the code of Holy Book, anybody that think him black, but the whole humanity, and humanity doesn't have white or black, and then bring some nonsense that somebody has 12 wise men and somebody that I think even might be illiterate, and talking about certain thing that has no knowledge about it, and coming even to the...
One second, caller. First of all, I don't want to denigrate this conversation to name calling, okay? Assumption of saying someone illiterate, and I know who you are, and I respect you, and I want you to respect the guest. It's okay to argue because we all argue, okay? No problem there.
Yeah, but no. What I said that illiterate, I didn't mean by not being able to read or write. That's out of question. Illiterate in the sense of Islamic views, and Islamic views has been degraded by using words like black and white. First of all, the first spoken of the Islamic religion was the first man that went to the highest area and called people to pray was a slave black person. And then, yes.
Slave.
Yes, he was a slave black person which was freed by Islamic ideas and laws. And then this same slave was tortured almost to death because of believing in Islam. This is simple as that. Second of all...
Wait a minute. But at that same point, it is also, and you have to understand this because it's a point in history, that Islam enslaved Africa. What about that?
Islam never enslaved anywhere.
I'm sorry, sir.
What is your plan? What is your source for saying that?
But it's history.
Where is the history? Which history? You can't just say history.
Wait a minute. Because the people of Islam went into Africa and enslaved our people of Africa, and that is how the African people received the religion of Islam.
No,
and you were slave traders. You were major slave traders. Do not lie.
That is history. No, sir.
I'll bring to you the history, which was the big thing. But let me tell you something. Islam not even went to Africa. It went to Europe, and it went to...
And it didn't enslave Europeans because you... because...
Before Islam going by force, the idea already penetrated.
Islam was by force in Africa.
No, sir.
Sir, that is
the Iranian Empire, the Persian Empire. Let me finish. You're just saying something, and let me finish.
I am not just saying something. No. Look, I think that you need to be careful because I'll cut you off. Okay?
No, that's fine.
That is correct. Now, we'll go ahead with the discussion because that is fact.
And not only that, the Quran says that we fight with those who fight with us, but we are never the aggressors. Can they deny that there are still slaves in Saudi Arabia? Can they deny that there's still slaves in the Middle East? Don't come with foolishness.
I would like to make a comment concerning this one that is most mindful of his duty. I'm not talking about when I say black and white or the intentions of Allah concerning that as a person. But the nature of a person is what Allah works with. He don't allow people to come on earth or bring them on earth and don't know what their capabilities are. So because it is put in the book, not black or white, is put there in such manner is the one that is most mindful of his duty. If you as a white person are not by nature capable of carrying out the duties of Allah or what he would have to be done at his fullest capacity, well then you can only go but so far. You're restricted or limited. But the nature of the black man is God nature. And we have gone under oppression, and we have lost our knowledge. Allah sent back to us the knowledge to bring us back into our rightful place. So, not because we are black, but because of the nature of us, we are able to be more mindful of the duty of what our nature calls for us to do than any other people on the planet.
And I like to make my one statement. I am not religious, and I believe that all religion was made by man. Therefore, I believe in one God, and one God who has no beginning and has no end, and has no other in competition. Now, that's my declaration, period. So this is no more than allowing to be aired other people's religion, like I always allow people's religion to be aired. But I'm not going to have a whole bunch of fighting on the radio, because the only people that fight here is me. And I have the button, therefore I control the power. And that's the way it is, and everybody knows that. So fight on. But there are going to be rules, and the rules will be played by the house, Brother James's house, on KKFI. Now, let's see, go to the next caller. KKFI, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'd like to know what is going to happen in the future about the American Indian.
Well, the American Indian is a person that was under a chastisement, and he was exiled over here 16,000 years ago. Allah kept him into that chastisement until the year 1973. Now, the chastisement was lifted after the teachings of the messenger was well established. And if the American Indian, wants to receive or come back home to his nature, he has the opportunity to do so. That's what's in store for him, but it's his choice.
KKFI, you're on the air.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question, but first make a statement. I'd like the other caller to call back and not be antagonistic with Brother James, and just because he was asking some good questions, I think, because the conversation was very stimulating. Anyhow, I'm not going to argue about the slave point, because until, like that guy said, if you don't bring references and facts, it's just going to be semantics on the telephone.
That's it.
That's really the point on that one.
Right.
So if they're going to talk about that in the future, please don't. It's going to be semantics. Anyhow, first, I got a bunch of questions. If I'm coming here with respect, Mr. Solomon, if that's okay, I can ask you these questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First one is, could you give me the definition or what is the meaning of Alif Lam Mim in Al-Quran? First,
you were asking me what does Al-Islam mean?
No, Alif Lam Mim in the Quran.
I see. The initials, the letters?
Yes.
I have not gone into that, brother.
Because it has 9
I thought you were able to answer all the questions.
I am. But that is a question that at this particular time has no relevance to what I'm doing for our people. Now, those are initials, or the way that you pronounce it, it's coming from initials, and I think it represents, 3 or 4 different surahs in the Holy Quran.
It's a surah, right?
All right. But that is not proven as of yet to be from Allah. It is still what we may call a mystery. You have, different people have their interpretation as to what it means. But as of this time, now when the Quran was put over the 23 years of being put together, we had some certain signatures or certain people that was put on it to make it a mystery. Now, I did not go into that to bring it to our people for an explanation. But what Allah spoke in the Quran and what the interpretation of that, I will give you the meaning of that if you want to know.
Well, I want to know what you're supposed to tell me what the meaning is.
Well, I just gave you my answer, brother.
Which is that it's not relevant.
I said at this time.
Okay, at this time. I've spoken to some of your followers.
I don't have any followers.
Well, some of the students, I guess. And they said that the Quran was not for them. Is that correct? That you have really, because they said the Quran is not for the black man.
Well, the Quran is a book that was put together for the civilization of the Arabs or of the Caucasian race that wanted to do right. In essence, the black man is the Quran. He don't have to carry around and read it. And the level of the awareness or the intelligence of what the black man or God is supposed to do is not there in the Quran. It tells us, the Quran is mostly warning us what we shouldn't do, what punishment or grievous chastisement is going to take place if we don't do thus and so. But to get into the semantics or the specifics as to how to do things according to nature, it don't do that. So it's a book that warns us about a particular time.
Actually, is it okay if I go on?
No, let me finish this answer.
Sure.
I'm not saying that the Quran does not hold the truth, the truth. But for us, as the black people in this part of the world, that were not introduced to that, nor Prophet Muhammad. So Allah raised up from our own one that would give us the proper understanding and respect for the knowledge of Allah. Now, whatever books comes from that knowledge is not the Quran. It is the books that came from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So if we would be a lot better in this country, if we were to read the Quran, that we read it from the base of the understanding of what the messenger taught us. Because he came after or was risen up after the Quran. So this means that Allah has updated his awareness of what he wants us to know. So for this people in this country, this black man in this country, it would be better if he checked on Islam through the teachings of the messenger and then read the Quran.
I want to add on to, you're correct, the Quran does not talk about the black man. At the same time, it doesn't talk about the white man or the red man or the green man, because it's for humanity and not for any color. That's why it's a book that is beyond all other books in the sense that it talks about the essence of humanity and not a separation of colors. And second of all, you said that if I'm correct, that the Quran is, the time of that is over, but in essence, if you really go into the meaning of it, the Quran is for all times.
Well, the truth is always the truth forever. But truth out of season is like no truth at all. And to get back to this color thing, it seems to stick very in a disagreeable way with those that read the Quran and have very little understanding of it. It's not black or white that's actually the problem. It is the color of the person automatically signifies what nature he's operating in by nature. So Allah deals with the nature. This is why it's not written in the Quran concerning black or white at that level. But when you see a black man and you understand what you're looking at, what nature you're looking at, you know you're looking at God, or a person that has the full potential of being a creator. When you see a white man, the opposite of the black man, you're looking at a person that is a God, but he's not the God of righteousness. And he has the ability and the nature to perform things that is in the opposite direction, which is mischief.
Well,
and devilishment.
Brother Solomon, when I look at people, I don't look at them in sense of...
Well, it's not about how you or I see it. We have to see the plan of Allah and understand it.
Right.
And that way, if you are white and you want to do what's right, he's not going to stop you, and no righteous person will stop you. But we deal with the nature. Even if you want to do right and you accomplish what you want, you have a limitation on you because of your whiteness, or not the color white, but the nature of what that makes white white, so to say.
Isn't it better to just say, instead of black and white, just say good and bad in the people?
No, sir. No, sir.
If you put a black man...
No, sir. That's been the problem up until now. We have been trying to ignore what is absolute and put in a lot of gray areas. And even Islam, as the way it is taught from the East, since it is a white person, and the knowledge of Allah, the level of it is like the light of a candle, not the sunlight. So when you are expressive, Allah wouldn't put on you a burden, knowledge that you can't handle. So he gave it to you in that form, and you constantly quote it and read it and pray. And in the Quran, it reads that the mere remembrance of Allah is better than prayer. But the black man has to practice instead of pray. But we have to come back into ourselves. The white man, Allah knew you. He permitted you to be made, so he wouldn't put a burden on you more than what you could bear, so he gives you the amount of knowledge that you can handle. And up until now, it seems like that is the thing, because the black man has not finished waking up. When he comes into being himself, then you will be able to see and put a period behind the Quran and say, well, yes, the black man is God. But we must remember the righteous God. We have to remember, if we're going to do that and be that, this means also be just to you. We're not just because we're God, we have anger with you, or we hate you, or we don't like you. No, God don't operate that way. Allah don't do that. It is you all that I keep hearing that have some type of disagreement vehemently with the messenger or the knowledge that we receive from him. You don't come to us in a way to see what is true. If it is true, you just come automatically with the Quran pointing out where it's wrong. This is something that has to stop. Now, if it don't mean that we're gonna stop and lay down and don't do what we're supposed to do. No, sir. We're gonna continue being what we are and magnify ourselves in doing so. And the world will see. And we're on time, because every race has tried to do something for themselves and for this planet as far as owning it. And the state of what it is in now is deplorable. And it bears witness that whoever is in charge failed. So why shouldn't we come in now?
Brother Solomon, two more real important questions. First of all, you said 144,000. I guess that's the main code that you have. When you get 144,000, you said Saturday that you would destroy the rest of the United States. How do you plan on destroying the rest of the United States?
Well, I wouldn't go into that over there, brother. It's not that 144,000 or some code or whatever. This is what has been predicted by the prophets. If you claim to believe in the prophet,
you mean?
Well, this has been predicted. The number that would be going to heaven with the Lord, or ascending to heaven with the Lord, is not my prediction.
I had the Quran. It says that, or
in the Quran it talks about a remnant. Now, in the Bible, and this is another thing too. We have been raised up in this country on the Bible, or from the Bible. Now, Allah raised up a man to give us the understanding of what the Bible, or where the truth is in the Bible, and how to understand it, and how to take the Quran and bear witness to what is written in the Bible. So when you come directly from the Quran and you want to teach black people or talk to them, they don't have an understanding as to what you are saying. They can't relate to that. So if God is going to be just, he must come to them in the language in which they speak. plain and clear. And it's been prophesied that it would be 144,000, and that is true. The prophets didn't lie. But then there's another number that made it after great tribulation, that a number that no man could count. So it's not, I'm going to destroy the United States after I get the 144,000. What has been prophesied in the logistics of doing this and the stubborn rebelliousness of this white man is bringing on his own destruction. You don't stand in the face of Allah or in the will of Allah and defy him on what you think that you know. Allah is the all-knower, the all-seer, and he has the power to accomplish his will. And he didn't make his will a secret. He put it in the Quran. He put it in all religious writings. What his will is to get rid of his enemy and to save the ones that he loved and the ones that love him, rightfully so. And it reads in the Holy Quran that we should fear Allah as he should be feared. And to do that, it takes knowledge, not something that you feel or think.
Brother Solomon, since
yes, sir.
You have so many contradictions with the majority.
Well, brother,
I'm not putting it down. I'm just asking a question about in terms of with the billions of other Muslims. So, wouldn't it be better not to connotate yourselves with them when you say Islam? Because you're not, when you have...
No, sir, it would not be better because your understanding of what Islam is not Allah's understanding. Islam is the right way or Allah's way of life. It's not a religion. It's been permitted to be called a religion. And because Allah's will is to update it or to bring it in the way he wants it, those of you or of us that has been studying, still studying, not knowing Islam, the way it is taught from the East. And when Allah comes to update it, then we have a big argument with him.
That makes sense. What about on Saturday you were talking about that, you've been on UFOs and you've been around the whole universe. Could you please tell me more about that? Because that really intrigued me.
Well, in order for me to be Solomon in this, or the fullness of what Solomon did, so it's not that I'm really Solomon, but the duty that I have to perform, in the fullness of it, history repeats itself. But this is the last time that history will ever go back again or repeat itself. So we are at the fullness of time. So what took place, or what was prophesied that took place before concerning Solomon? Solomon, in the Quran, it reads that Allah gave him a little knowledge of everything. So now, if I am truly that person, or to carry out that type of knowledge, I had to be taken and shown and given just that.
So that was where the UFOs came in, right?
On that level, yes, sir.
So where did they take you, though? I mean, what things did you see that, at least for a person who's at a very small stage yet, what things did you see so you can enlighten me? I mean, I know it's incredible, the universe and everything like that, because if we take too much knowledge, we'll burn. That's for sure.
What is true?
What can you tell me of the universe out there that, let's say that maybe a scientist is going to discover in the next 2 weeks or something, so that at least that kind of a thing will really draw the people towards you. You see what I'm saying? That's
yes.
Really, that's fair, I think, to ask.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but my adventure or tour of the universe was knowledge or a trip to confirm the knowledge which was being shared to me and put in me.
How did you get around?
What do you mean, how did I get around?
How did they take you, or the elders you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
How did they take you around? I mean, was it like in terms of a spiritual way, or did you actually get physically taken?
No, I was physically taken.
So you had to have like some kind of a flying machine or something, right?
Yes, sir.
So what was that like?
Well, it's like what you see on TV, or what white folks call UFOs, which is not really unidentified. They really know. They really know what it is. They're not telling the people. But Allah does what He please when He please, and He prepares whom He please, and then puts them before the people or the public to perform what He's prepared Him to do. But to prepare me to do what has to be done, I'm saying that they took me on a spacecraft and carried me over the universe and showed me what already exists and what the future plans is for the universe.
And did they have to like give you like some memory enhancement or something so that you could be able to take the knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
No, what happened was they didn't have to give it to me. My very birth, the way I came, was already prepared that way. I didn't know it until a certain amount of knowledge came and they let me know. But I wasn't already here, and then they had to change me. Allah don't do that. He plans well in advance. So when this took place, I was prepared already to receive it and maintain it. I'm genetically coded for it.
And any black man can do this too, though?
No, sir.
Oh, just, okay, so I just want to make sure. So you really are the one who can only absorb all that knowledge?
At this level, yes, sir.
And do the people who are closest around you kind of fear in terms of that immense power?
No, sir, because the power is not to be distributed in a way where it brings about fear. It only brings about a thirst for more knowledge and understanding. Allah don't want you to fear him in no ignorant way. And if you're going to be intelligent, you have to have knowledge. So this isn't brought about to produce fear. It is brought about to produce a thirst to want to be all you can be in the form of righteousness.
So what does Mr. Farrakhan think about that?
Mr. Farrakhan?
And other ministers. Do they agree with that, or is that a conflict?
You would have to ask them what they think about it. It has not been in a way where all of them, they are still just finding out. And most of the ones that talk to me or confront me, after we talk a while, they become very happy. And they wanted this, or they want this to be, me to be successful in what I'm bringing or sharing with them.
And Brother Solomon, the final question. Since you are Allah, right?
I didn't say that.
You said the black man is Allah.
Oh, yes, sir.
So then you would be Allah from your definition.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. So then you do say you're Allah.
No. We.
As a collective unit.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, in your interpretation, what I'm telling you.
I just want to let you tell me, because I don't want to interpret wrong.
At this particular time, I'm the prepared one. We, the black man in North America, is the Allah as a unit to get the will of Allah started in a way that he will be pleased.
As is America as a unit the devil?
Is America as a unit the devil?
Yes.
It's the home of the devil.
It's the home of the devil?
Yes, sir.
Well, that part I do agree with you.
Now we're brothers.
That's the only point I've agreed with you, but at least we hit something on target. It is the home of the devil. And the chief manager, Mr. Clinton, what do you think about him?
Well, I really don't want to get into Mr. Clinton. He's been also planned by Allah to be in the seat that he's in. And it won't be a long period of time before he and I will be talking. But
won't you have to kill him to get rid of him, though?
No, I'm not going to kill him.
No, because since he's exactly counteracting the principle, though.
No, but when a man does his nature, Allah don't blame him for doing that. But I'm not going out to kill anyone. Mr. Clinton has a duty to do, and he's going to do that.
Because he is suppressing violence.
Wait a minute. First of all, it's convoluted to believe that anyone that's talk about killing anybody over the air, 100,000 watts. Come on, let's get for real, okay? That's ridiculous. I mean, we know that the CIA is listening.
I'm very surprised. We had begun to think that you did have some intelligence or have some respect for our intelligence. But to come with such a transparent attempt to get a man to make a statement that he is going to do something first that is against the laws of Allah, and then secondly against the laws of a country under which we live, whose laws we live under, is ridiculous. Because, we obey the laws of those in authority over us as long as it does not conflict with our religion. Do not come with that childish kind of word. Don't call me brother when you come with statements like that.
That's fine. You can go ahead and chastise me, but what I'm saying is that to be able to follow Brother Solomon correctly, you would not be able to follow the laws of the white man that they put here, because the Constitution in this country was made for white men, was not made for black, Hispanic, gray, or any other shade than white Anglo-Saxon.
But please, do not try to interpret it. Do not try to interpret the Constitution or the laws of this Caucasian for me. I have lived here all of my life. You came here of your own free will. We were not. If you do not like the laws that you have come to live under, then you should leave. Or did you come to try and disrupt that which history has told you is going to be Islam rising in the West?
No, I don't want to disrupt that.
Wait a minute. This is Brother James. First of all, to be very honest about it, the laws of this land is not for any Muslim, regardless of the color. And anyone that noticed that 325,000 Muslims were killed and the Muslim community haven't done nothing yet, okay? So we can talk about that. And the fact that the Muslims in America are shivering and shaking in their boots, wondering when they're going to be deported, those of them who are from foreign soil, okay, does not do anything. Will not even go to visit their Muslim brothers in prison on a chaplain tour because of the fear of being deported. Don't talk about that stuff.
I agree. There's a lot of that going on, and that's something that I have to back you 100% up on, Brother James. But when I said about killing,
no, you cannot finish that because that is convoluted and it's done with. You don't have to clean it up. It shouldn't have never been said because it's something that we don't do. It's not a policy here or anywhere.
But Saturday he said that once you get to 144,000 people, that you would have to destroy everybody else that stood against him.
So, and what does the Muslim? That wasn't it. What does the Muslim community say as far as it's called what is jihad?
That's first jihad is to defend yourself when you wake up in the morning and just be a good individual. That's the most important jihad. It's called jihad al-akbar.
But I'm talking about the fact that when the United States government have done everything to the Muslim community in America, that there should be a jihad already.
Right. There should be a leader who.
There should have been one when they went to the Gulf. There should have been one in the Middle East, in America, and everywhere else the Muslim community are at. So what I'm saying is, no one talks about that. Everyone keep their mouth shut about it. And I'm saying that that conversation is finished unless you want to get cut off.
No, I don't want to get cut off.
Right.
But if you want, I can talk about that jihad since you said no one talks.
I don't want to talk about it now.
Okay.
No, because, see, first of all, only reason why you want to talk about it is to send a point. I want to continue the conversation, and there are other callers, and in fact, you've been on long enough.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
And thank you. KKSI, because we only have half an hour left, and we want to spend it with the guests that we have, and there's other callers, just like I said. KKSI, you're on the air.
Excuse me, I needed to express my feelings about, this. I want to say that just like Zionism is an overreaction against the oppression that the Jews went through, any racist interpretation of Islam, can be, by the blacks, can be because of the oppression that they have gone through, all throughout, throughout history. I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but I believe that, the Islam, just like all the other monotheistic religions, the idea, is the unity of mankind. It's not the superiority of one race over another.
That's in theory, and for what, now, not being Muslim, Catholic, Christian of any type, the one thing that I have observed as a historian is that Muslims can't even unite among themselves. They're fighting among themselves they're allowing the United States government, that is a very pagan government, to kill their own people. And why is that? If it's supposed to be unity, there is no unity. They're allowing an outsider to come in to kill their own brethren. And they're doing it for money. And they don't realize that their own land is being parted while they're allowing a foreigner who is a pagan to kill their people. What about that? Hello, caller?
I understand. But,
wait a minute, I don't... Understanding and saying you agree or disagree, that's what I want to know.
Well, what there is different from what there should be. I mean, the Muslims, they're not, they're not actually, well, let's put it this way. What we see in the Islamic world today is not, the way that, Islam is supposed to be.
Well, now, the way Islam is supposed to be, what about the Jewish religion?
What about the Jewish religion?
What about their problem, about what they do? Do they do anything wrong?
Well, it's not, I'm saying...
Hello?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's,
what about, how about Israel killing the South Africans, or contributing to the killing of South Africans by giving the technology, giving the chemicals to the non-South Africans to kill our South African brothers? Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I mean, what I'm asking is,
right.
What about that? Well, could I say something?
Yeah.
It's your format. I would say this. It seems to be a big hang-up again on color or race. This is not about that.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I was listening to the radio, and my God, you sounded like, you were preaching an ideology of racism. This does not sound like Islam at all.
Well,
and I was born in an Islamic country.
Let me clear this up again.
Yeah.
I'm saying what the will of Allah is based on the nature of things that He has created or made, not the color of them. The color of the different people that exist on the earth is only a mere thing to give the naked eye an instant reading of what nature you're looking at. It's not that we hate or dislike, but we know what to expect of that particular nature. So it's not someone...
That's extremely racist to say.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
I mean, how can you say that all you can expect from a white individual is, hatred or corruption, and what you can expect from a black guy is godliness. I mean, that's...
Well, okay, Color, I'm not going to address that, but I'm going to address the first part of your question. We expect from what we see and what we get. Around the world, people of color, indigenous people, are being murdered by white people, Caucasian, from the Caucasus Mountain region. Those who are European. The Australians are almost extinct. Native Americans have been decimated here to the tune of over 400 million. Africans were murdered on these shores to the tune of 400 million. And still both groups are being murdered and slaughtered and incarcerated at an alarming rate. We look at Africa, not only in South Africa is the death rate by non-South Africans and non-African people who are European, but all over the continent of Africa, AIDS is not something that is a happenstance. AIDS was manufactured in Fort Detrick, Maryland by white boys, okay? I use that term as a derogatory term for those who are murdering us. I don't consider all white people bad. I consider those who are our oppressors, those who participate in our oppression, and those who do nothing to help us as our enemies. Like I said before, I am not religious, but I do know history, and I am a fool if I sit around and let people who have been killing me allow them to come among my camp and continue the murder and the killing. We have a history of being oppressed by Europeans. Until Europeans stop that oppression, we have no other way to act but the way that we act. For our own safety, wouldn't it be better for our own safety to mingle and congregate among our own and trust one another? And we can't even trust one another because Europeans have destroyed the mind of the black man so that he believes that he is white. And he participates in crime just as in America and in South Africa, where the white man does not have to kill us. He has our brethren to kill us. We have our brothers to straighten his hair and to think that he is white and then turn around and imprison us at alarming rate. So what are we supposed to think of you good white folks? I mean, what is there left for us to think? And if this is not something I hear say, it's in the papers every day. It is reported. It is history. And in fact, in 1944, in June the 17th, in Port Chicago, California Naval Base, we were destroyed again by a nuclear explosion that 202 of our people died in a first nuclear explosion. The second was Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They tested on us, then they tested on them, and in fact, 7 days later, took and made another test on the Japanese population, who were also dark-skinned race. Now, what are we supposed to think by the Kupazoid? How are we to identify those of you who are what you call good? Do you feel that we, as black people, should just continue to sit down and listen to what those whom you have trained to tell us what you want us to know and who you want to point out as our leaders, that we should just walk meekly behind them? The time for that is over. Now understand, we are not advocating any sort of malicious or violent revolution. It would be ludicrous for us to come to you and buy the Uzis that you allow to slip into the black community now, or you send into the black community, the semi-automatic handguns that you send into the community, along with the drugs that you are sending into the community. We would be absolute idiots to now raise up with the 4 Uzis and the 13 rounds of ammunition that you sold us, and after we expend it, have to say, hold it just a minute, sir. We're going to come back over and buy some more bullets from you so that we can come back and shoot you again. And the Uzis, the bullets for the Uzis, the 9mm, are manufactured in such a way that you cannot even make them yourself. So you can't make them in your own community. You got to buy them. So when the government already said, okay, we got all we need to kill these niggas, now shut it off and go in and pop you, and you ain't got a round. This is why Allah had to come in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, raise up a messenger from among these people, these specifically oppressed people, this new people, this neutral, this Negro created by the slave masters here in America, by the killing of their minds or the deadening of their minds, in order to allow these people, this special black man here, to know who he really is.
that we have been deadened in the brain. The flux of calls that's been coming in has been those of you that's supposed to know, and you're in the position of power and authority and leadership. And what we see in the world today, it bears witness to your lack of knowledge or fear of the Creator. If you feared Him as you should, you would work against the voice that speaks to you to do this evil. But since that has not happened, well then, why should we not accept or even believe that Allah would raise one up that would express absolutely only His will, and then give Him the power to make sure that He does not fail? Because He knows the adversary that his will is coming up against. So therefore, I hope the black people that are listening to this station and have not yet called in learn something from the callers that has called. These are people that are in the position of power, and it seems as though it must be a fear of us that you would even call. If you have the ball game or you have all the power in your pocket, and we are nothing, there should be no concern about what questions that I have to ask for you. You should have no questions. I would like to hear from our people, the people that I have been raised up in the West to save, those that want to be saved, because there are many of us that go for you all hook, line, and sinker. Those people, if they want to be with you, they have Allah's permission. But Allah has the right and the authority. And He prophesied that He would come and get His people, not the people. So that's a distinction, let you know that there are some people that don't belong to Him, or He does not want because they don't want Him.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
And this is KKFI in Kansas City, Missouri. We'll be right back after this commercial. Our guest. And you have a caller. KKFI, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I happened to catch when the other two male callers called in and they were cut off. I'm a person that I'm just now coming into who I am and what I need to do. And I've been trying to expose myself to people like your speaker and other things that are going on. But the main thing is this, is that I know that they're, like the brother was saying, it's nature, it's certain things, it's not a color thing. Just like we were given ways to tell about what's in a person's heart. You can look into their eyes. They have sciences for it now, the names. But there have always been ways to let people know how to read what's in another person's heart. And I'm trying to prepare myself for what's about to happen. I'm like trying to clean out my body and going through a process of evolving into who I'm supposed to be. So when whatever is about to happen, I'll be ready, and I'll be ready to participate. And I just I'm at a crossroad now. I've bought a Quran like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm having a hard time understanding. And at the same time, I've been rereading the Bible to try and, make a connection about what's going on. And for 1993 and me, where is it going to lead to? And how is it that I'm going to know that it's time? Everybody's got their opinion, but I just...
And everyone's opinion is important, and Brother Solomon will talk directly to you.
Salam alaikum, sister.
Is it Salaikum Assalam?
No,
Walaikum Assalam?
Wa alaikum salam.
The Quran is a book that contains the truth, but to obey what's in the Quran, you have to have land, and it has to be administered from the government that is governing the land. So in this particular country, the man that runs this country do not run it from the direction of the Quran or from righteousness. So this is why when black people in this country get it and try to live by it, it only makes you a more humble and meek servant to the one that's in authority over you. So that's why it is not good for us to read in the absence of the messenger's literature. This was a little man, no more than 4 feet and some inches tall, that stood and told the world Allah's intentions and will is concerning the races or the righteous man and the wicked man. Now, in his teaching, there was a promise that a powerful son of truth would be raised in the West, and it corresponds with the prophet's predictions. Now, when this son is raised, he will have the necessary knowledge and the know-how and the logistics to implement things that will cause you to participate in a righteous awareness or nation. It will give you a place to practice what you're looking for. If this is not done, then we all should just go and jump in the lake, because there's no place on the earth that we see today that we can practice righteousness and not be hindered or tampered with. So it's got to be Allah and the will and his power in a world that is expressed in negative to make his will known. This is why it's written that Allah has to make himself known, not that the people want him or are going to let him. So in the course of doing that, every day he puts out certain things in the atmosphere that will stimulate the ones that is of the nature of righteousness. And this is why a lot of people that I meet today, black people and some other brown men, are expressing things that is coming up in them that they can no longer suppress. This is in accord with Allah's will. And he's not going to allow this to happen to you and then don't produce a place for you to practice it or to multiply it. So you keep in contact with the Nation of Islam. I'm not saying go there as it is now, but you keep in contact with it, keep an eye on it. And when you hear this type of knowledge coming from it, or things starting to actually happen in the way of maintaining or bringing about our independence, then you do something concerning that. We have the Messenger's literature, Message to the Black Man. Matter of fact, the 5 books that the Christians talk about that Moses wrote is actually the 5 books that the Messenger have. Message to the Black Man, Our Savior Has Arrived, Fall of America, How to Live, Book 1 and 2. But Allah is actually in practice doing something now. And this is why I'm before the people, starting to become before the people now as the prepared one. The powers of the universe and the things that we don't see is what I'm representing. Now, it's not that I'm coming to impose death on anything other than death. It is prophesied in the last days or in the beginning of this new, death has to be done away with. It's written in Revelation 21, I think it is 21, where the question is asked, death, where's your sting? Or grave, where's your victory? Because there's no more death. We have to put an end to it. Now, what we see today, death is rampant. So it cannot be in the will of Allah. So Allah has to raise up someone that is not practicing the old ideas and what they think should be done, that facts has proved that it's failed. So this, sister, you keep on, and you stay in touch with the nation. And so some other brothers here, before we go up there, we'll give you a phone number that you can call and get things, my tapes, and things that will enhance what Allah's giving you in the unseen.
Can your tapes be purchased through in the back of the final call, where they always have tapes and things that you can get through the Nation of Islam?
Not as of yet. Okay. That will be forthcoming very rapidly. But we do have some particular individuals that have, Allah always starts very small.
Right.
So we have some individuals now in your area that will have some tapes, and you will be able to get them from these particular individuals. From the phone number that we give you, you'll be able to call and get whatever other information that you need.
If not, I always know how to get in touch with Brother James.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.
Oh,
glad I tuned in.
Yes,
good night.
Good night.
New listener, I like your program. I'd like to ask a couple of historical questions to the gentleman that you have there, if that's okay.
Sure, fine, man.
Okay. I too have began to do some reading, and I'd like for you to draw me some kind of picture of what's really going on here. I've read about this person think it's W.D. Farrar, Elijah Poole, and some man from the East. If you could comment on that real quickly and then tell me what would be a re-education as far as you're concerned about the African-American family in North America. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The man, W.F. Farrar, is the man whom we call Master Farad Muhammad. The man Elijah Poole is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the messenger of Allah to the black man from among the black man here in America. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the 1930s began to teach the people that he had met with God face to face, as had been predicted and prophesied by the prophets, that he was the Elijah spoken of at the end of the Old Testament in Malachi, where it said, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and he will turn the hearts of the children to the father, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." And that ended the Old Testament. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, although he is styled there in Malachi as a prophet, he is not and was not a prophet because there was nothing left to prophesy. That he, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was a messenger bringing a specific message to a specific people but which would benefit the entire world. He taught us that Allah, or God, came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and that he came specifically here to gather his people. In terms of the re-education of the black man, the literature by the messenger, the message to the black man in America, the fall of America, our Savior has arrived, How to Eat to Live, volumes 1 and 2. These books are the basis for the re-education of the black man. Now, these books can be purchased in most black bookstores. You can get them and order them from the address in the back of the final call. In Chicago, and here in the Kansas City area, they can be purchased by calling 677-0421 and asking for a Brother Samuel or a Brother Samuel Muhammad or a Sister Nancy Muhammad. This will give you a base, and then, as Brother Solomon has stated earlier, then pick up the Quran, read the Quran, because as he said, the Quran is the truth. Thank you.
To reiterate on Master Farad Muhammad. This is a brother that was prepared, that was predicted to come or took on dyed garments for the specific purpose of finding the rulers of the planet, which is the black man, was lost. And the reason why we were lost, it was still permitted by Allah for that to take place, but the people that took us into a land that was not ours or that was strange to us was Caucasian. Although it was another brother of ours by the name of John Hawkins that aided and assisted him in doing this. So the purpose of Master Farad Muhammad was to come and find us. And he had to be partially white and partially black. So he would be accepted from both people. Now that has happened. And to prove that it took place, that he raised a man up from Sandersville, Georgia, with no education, formal education, what this world calls formal. And he produced a thirst for knowledge and a situation that is still perplexing the minds of those who, what the Bible says, forever seeking knowledge and never finding the truth. Now they have found it and they don't want to accept it because it does not go in harmony with their nature. And the black man has been so thoroughly indoctrinated with this man's nature that he's questioning his own ability to submit to something that seems foreign to him, but he feels like it's right. So this is what is happening. Now the re-education, the books that he just quoted is the basis for it. But to get into the specifics of it, this is what takes place during the building of the house of the Lord, not the house for a good man, but of the Lord. So this house has to exude intelligence. So in the process of doing that, we will use those people that have knowledge and the people that Allah is giving knowledge to, and we will come to our true nature. That's what's taking place today.
And in the speaking of the building of the house of the Lord, please remember that we are not talking about one physical structure. We are talking about the complete rebuilding of the nation of Islam. We are talking about raising the nation of Islam to levels and heights that have not yet been seen. And for those who may still have questions, this rebuilding is being directed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and in person, and Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. I'm not talking about spooks nor spirits. I'm talking about live men. The questions that arise in the minds of those who say, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed, I say that is true. But you must also remember that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that Allah told him to tell the people, come follow me and I will place you in heaven at once, and I will place you in heaven overnight with money, good homes, friendships in all walks of life, peace and contentment of mind and spirit. We have not yet collected. It is now time to get paid.
Okay, we have another caller here. KKFI, you on there?
Thanks for letting me talk. One comment and a question will be put on. It is ironic that Allah let the white person do whatever he wanted to do up to this point. So all the crime and all the atrocity that has been done by the white will return to God himself, since he was the one that allowed the thing happen, according to your guest. And second of all, going back to Islam says clearly that Allah is not created, doesn't have a son or a father. So Allah will not show up in the form of human being and will not have a son or be having a father. That's another thing. And the next thing is that in Islam, again, the quote from the Holy Book is very simple, that the best of you is the most pious of you. And piety is defined as to be more servant to a human being. That is the Islamic dogma. And to get away from that and make God to be so limited to few people in a small part of the world and universe, it is again something very simplistic and no human being with right mind will accept. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
That was the question was that if God allowed the white man, according to your guess, to do whatever he did, first of all, the God is the black person, and the black person is in a sense being God, letting the white people do whatever the white people did to him, so all the thing goes back to him. So he is the cause of all evils, not the white. If the definition that your speaker, your guest is bringing, that we are the God, and the God led the white person to do whatever he did up to this point. So everything will go back to God because this was according to him. Of course, these are all out of, these are not anything that Islam preached. That's what I want to make clear.
Are you asking the question, though? Is that your question? Will all this be returned to Allah? And because he allowed
the black person that is God.
Yeah, the black person. Ah, fine. All right, let's see. First of all,
let's the preferred one talk.
Oh, you want him to answer? Fine. Yeah. I mean, it was so simple that I would handle it. Since I don't have his knowledge, I could even handle that one. But if you wish to speak with him, no problem. Here he is.
I go back again. The way that people perceive this, what's taking place, is like God knew nothing about it. Like he woke up one morning and found out, oh, my planet is gone to hell. I better go and check and find out what I can do. That's the mentality that you're confronting me with. Allah knew, allow me to answer it. Allah knew well in advance what was going to happen, what he was going to do because of what was going to happen, and he caused it or permitted it to happen.
Why?
So it's not...
Why?
And you're going to allow him to finish answering the question?
No. This is...
Whoa. We allowed you to make your statement, and
please,
then...
Please.
No, not please. No, not please.
The question is why he allowed it.
Okay, well, fine. Why don't you wait and let him answer the question, and then, as a civilized man, put another question to it. There's no problem with that.
Time to ask the question.
No, you ask a question. Now, if you're not going to allow the answer, please don't even bother. But if you will wish to hear the answer...
I think he has enough brain to talk. Why you're talking for
Because
him?
I feel to talk now.
No,
I feel to speak now.
You're interfering, please.
I am not interfering because you are a gentleman who will not act as a civilized man.
Well, that's what you perceive.
I'll take the question. I was in the process of answering it. But this is another ploy to discredit truth that's coming to a man that is capable of expressing it.
No. Why he allowed it?
I will answer the question when I want to answer it.
Oh, I see.
Now, if you are impatient, then that's a problem that you should work on.
No, I'm not impatient.
All right, then that's very good. Now, because it is Allah's plan to have this done, because in creation, God or Allah did not create negative. This is something that came with him in the creation. And in order for him to get rid of it, he allowed it. It's been trillions of years of him trying to research and go back over what he has done, what he plans to do to get rid of this thing that constantly nags. now, he identified it as being negative, or the reaction of positive action, which we call negative or negative force. So he tried to find out how can he get rid of this and save himself, since it was in his creation in the beginning.
So he made a mistake in the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm answering the question now. It would be very good if you listen to the answer.
Okay.
Because there's more people listening besides you.
You discredited the whole thing of God by saying he made a mistake.
Listen, would you kindly be quiet as a civilized person and listen, so those who will add those
God
others.
made a mistake. How can you call somebody that make a mistake God? God cannot make a mistake. We don't know the definition of God.
Well, why is the world in the condition it is in today?
That's not because of God.
What is it because of?
It is because of you and me.
And how did we get here?
Let me give you this. This is very simple.
No, wait a minute. Wait and get the answer for the other question, and then we will proceed from there.
I just want to clarify that you made the statement that God made mistake. I hope the listener listened to that.
He most certainly did.
Good. Continue.
We're gonna do it this way.
Okay, Brother James, I'm sorry. I didn't want to get into that. I can cut up myself right now.
All right.
Yeah, I just listened to that. I hope you get take part with what I said and you follow that, because this is getting to be just really something interesting. And I know you have enough knowledge to just back up the questioning that I was making. Thank you, Brother James.
Thank you, caller. Okay, now, continue.
It's very good to ask the question and then wait for the answer. But while the answer is being delivered, if you interrupt the one that is answering, it distorts his thoughts concerning the answer. And it puts it on the person that's asking it whether it is worthy for him to even answer the question. Now, getting back to what I was saying, these people that has been calling, especially, it seems to be the ones that have studied the Quran from the East, and they have an attitude as though they are the God, and they don't call to ask no questions. They call to give a teaching of what they believe, as though what we're saying is an insult to Allah, and we can rise no higher than what they believe. Now, I'm talking about the purpose of Allah's will, as far as the question that you asked concerning white people or black people or this negative or evil that's on the planet that's run rampant. I'm saying, and I'm letting those that want to know that this was Allah's plan to get rid of this. He finally has figured out how to dispose of it, destroy it, and save himself. Yes, it was a mistake that came with God, not that he made it, but because he didn't detect it in the creation, we can say that it was a mistake on that part. And to let us know that there is a mistake, there is provisions provided and made for the unwanted by Allah, which we call waste. Now, that is something that will prove that there was a mistake. Now, after we have seen this and what this negative will do, because Allah left and allowed it to do what it would do, we have evidence now to see that it is unwanted by even himself. He's overburdened himself. So now Allah comes to get rid of it, because he has a good and thorough knowledge, and those that are with him that are scientists agree with the Allah to get rid of this. This is why he permitted a people to be made that would express negative in an intelligent way. But now it has been done, and we see what it will do, what it has done, and there's no longer any need for it. Now, those of people that are negative, if you want to work against your will, to want to be right, what we call Muslim sons that have studied from 35 to 50 years, and tried to the best of their ability to be right, and waiting for this person to help him build the house of the Lord, Allah has already provisions for you, that you will be very happy. But those of you that don't want to accept this and think that Allah has no more knowledge, that will reach no more than what's in the Quran, is very frivolous or futile. I hope that answers the question. This was
permitted for Allah, so he would see and the world would see that he is God, and no more will there be any repeating of history because of this force, what we call negative.
This is the last call.
One further statement with Brother Solomon's permission. The Caucasian people are the physical, the fullness of the physical manifestation of the defect in creation, which is negative. Your nature, your very nature, is that of evil. Everything that you have done since you've been on the face of the earth, 6,000 years, bears witness to it. Before you, there was no murder, there was no bloodshed, there was no lying. We permitted you to be made, to be brought before the physical eye in order to see what you would do if left on your own to rule. We gave you 6,000 years to do it in. You cannot find a trace of yourself on the face of the earth beyond 6,000 years.
This is the last call. KKFI, you on there.
Hello, gentlemen. I'd like to speak to Mr. Solomon without the other gentleman speaking for him, please. As a civilized man, that is.
And I'm going to give you one question and we call it quits.
Sure.
Get no.
Okay. May I make a comment real quick, though? That everything you've been...
Just a question.
Okay. The question is that if God had made a mistake, which Allah cannot make a mistake, and it's the beginning, there's no beginning and end to Allah, and you're saying that Allah made a mistake, and could it be possible then that Allah made one mistake that you said that maybe you're the second mistake, and that I think that everything you've been saying is really against Islam and not part of it, and that it's divided and not in any way connected to Islam, and it's very incorrect, sir, and you know it and we know it, and even though you don't want to admit it, that it's a manipulation. And again, what you're saying is putting black people under suppression by making them think that, oh, we are God, we are...
Where's the question?
Question is, you said that Allah made a mistake, but before you said he didn't make a... How can Allah, the Almighty, the one that created all, make a mistake? That's impossible.
I've already gone through that. If you taped it, I've already gone through it. You'll get the same answer.
Right. Well, the second mistake I said was, since Allah made one mistake from what you said, is it possible that you're the second mistake?
Okay. That's the end of it. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
And that you have a concluding statement that you want to make.
Yes, if I might, there is just something from one of the books of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is called Our Savior Has Arrived. On page 134, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says this, and I quote, "The Orthodox Arab teachers believe that what Muhammad gave is sufficient forever. Certainly, it is the truth forever, but it does not mean that we should be... That which was received, the Holy Quran, was sufficient to convert the world." Brother Solomon, you wish to...
I would like to say this. Black man, do not be taken off the track. Allah has prepared someone for you that is for your nature, for you to come alive and be yourself. We in this country and other countries as of yet has not seen the black man as he really is. And because the word God frightens other people, then that's their fear. But you know that you are God, or you should know it, just by being yourself. You don't have to do anything extra other than just study yourself and study the knowledge that Allah has put out here for us to study, and you will grow into being yourself. My duty is to make sure you have a place to practice it. So do not let those from the Eastern persuasion, which they have land. They have a book. They had a prophet first and then a book. Now, Allah repeated the same process. He gave us a messenger from amongst ourselves first. Now, instead of preparing a book, he prepared a person that is going to do the duty of what a book would do in the form of letting other people know. So this is an update, and do not let yourself be robbed of your reward. Thank you.
Now, Brother Rassoul, would you want to give the address where they can get information, etc.?
Yes. I'm sorry, what was it? Oh, okay. For the local area, for those wishing to acquire tapes or the literature of the messenger or the book, The Theology of Time, please call Brother Samuel Muhammad or Sister Nancy Muhammad at 677-0421. For those of you who wish to have other questions answered or who wish to be contacted from Brother Solomon's office, you can write to the United Nation of Islam, 7124 Temple Hills Road, Suite 137, Paget's Corner, that's P-A-D-G-E-T-T-S Corner, Camp Springs, Maryland, 20748. And we will respond to you just as quickly as we possibly can.
And I thank you for your participation and for the program. Also, I will bid you in the greeting. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum salam.